In this video, we're going to finish setting up our site plan by moving the site and the survey point and the project base point. Which, if you're in your site plan, you should have your topography and the image that we pasted in that video last week, and then also the LBCC kind of reference site plan. Which, if I turn these other things off, you should be able to see. So here's the LBCC site plan, so that we can kind of have a reference of where the where our project lives in reference to the LBCC campus. So if you have those already on there, good. If you do not, go ahead and watch the video from Thursday so that you can get these imported in so that we can use as our background and reference. And so actually the next thing you'd want to do is just to window over all of these and make sure that they are pinned so you don't inadvertently move them after you've made it. So now if you window over the site plan, you can hit filter and you can kind of see what you've selected: the LBCC master site plan, the raster image, and the topography. Hit OK. Filters found on the modify tab, and then the pin is also on the modify tab. And I think we went over this a little bit in the last video, but just in case you hadn't pinned them, go ahead and do that now. And so I'm doing some further research, trying to make this as close to a real-world example as possible. I went to a website for the National Geodetic Survey Data Explorer, and I was able to find LBCC, and there's a couple markers, benchmarks that they have at the campus. And so if you go to this website, I posted it on the kind of reference, the resources on the top of Moodle, just so you could check it out on your own. And you can see the two markers that they have here on the campus. And so I want to use this corner one. And so what I'm doing, just kind of as an example, is going to place our survey point here, and then we'll place our project base point over here. So this side's pretty interesting. So you can click on this to get the different benchmark that they have, and then you can click here to go to data sheet. And then it does have some site information that it can give you. It's got the latitude and longitude positioning information. And the one thing that I found interesting, you can kind of read through this. They have photographs so that we can actually see the marker that is actually on the site. So if you click through those images, you can kind of see where the marker is in relation to the site. And when we look back at our image and where our site is, you can kind of see that it would be right in this corner here. Now our site plan, you can kind of see it highlighted here in light gray as a background. We'll place our survey point here to kind of symbolize that that's where the survey point is going to live on this site, just kind of for reference. So if we can go back here, in the future classes, I would hope to kind of organize our class with the civil class so that you could, all these things could, like, work together. So here they have their survey equipment set up with the center of the survey pole centered on that benchmark. And they've just taken some pictures so you can kind of get a good idea of where this is located, which I found really interesting, that you can get this information kind of pretty easily on the internet. So anyway, that's what we're going to do. And that was the National Geodetic Survey Data. That website is on the Moodle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to window over back on our site plan. If these are not turned on, you can see this is the project base point and then the survey point. If these are not turned on, you can go to your view graphics, which is under your view tab, visibility graphics, or on your properties palette. or you can type VG. So if you hover over, VG is the shortcut command for your visibility graphics. So then you'd go to your visibility graphics, go down to site, and just make sure that these are turned on if they're not. So survey point and project base point, and hit cancel. Or okay, I'm hitting cancel because they're already on. So I'm going to window over my elevations and the survey and the project base point. And go up to your modify tab and hit move, or MV for move. And then you can hover over the middle and select the center, and we can move our project base point to this corner on the LBCC site plan. I'm going to turn the image off for now so you can see exactly where I'm at. And so that's where I'm going to put that survey point, which should be relatively close enough for this exercise to kind of simulate that if we were to have gotten an actual survey drawing, we could acquire coordinates from that drawing, and it would put that exactly where that marker is, that benchmark. But for this exercise, we're just going to manually move it there. And then, so a couple things about the survey point and the project base point. So right now they're in the same location. So if I hit uncheck the survey point, it'll give us the project base point is at 0, 0, 0 elevation, angle to true north is 0, and the survey point should have the same information. So what we've done is we've just told it that this is going to be 0, 0 based on the survey point. Now if you select the project base point and you move it away, you can see that these are now changing in reference to the survey point. So that stays at 0, and project base point is going to be changed in reference to where this survey point is. You can see the little clip here. Don't unclip that. You want to change. You want to keep that clipped. You can see it when you move it. It could actually change. So here we can go to annotate, spot coordinates. We can select the center here, and we'll do spot coordinate. Select the center here, and as we move the survey point, you can see that the project base point is moving with it. Now, if you were to unclip that, and then you'll see the survey point actually moves, and we don't want to do that. We want to keep the survey point at 0, 0. And so you'll want to keep that clipped. And what that does is it changes. You can see when it's not clipped, it will change where the project base point is. And when it's unclipped, this actually changes, but that stays the same. So you want to keep that clipped. So now let's go ahead and move our project base point to be closer to where our site is. Hit MV for move, or come up here and hit move on your modify tab, and we'll move this over to where we put our site. So then I got these coordinate markers from the annotate tab under spot coordinate. So now this is in reference to where that survey point is. And let's go ahead and draw a reference footprint here. So we'll go to the filled region. I'm going to change this to solid black. Grab a rectangle. And we're going to create a building that's going to be 100 feet wide by 150 feet long. This is kind of like a reference footprint. We're going to kind of work in this area. I'm going to turn it on my image again. So if you go to your view graphics and check raster image, hit apply, that'll turn it back on. And so you can kind of see where it is on the campus. So I'm going to extend this, our kind of reference site box. I'm going to kind of extend this out a bit. Just to show us all the site that we're going to be working with. Ideally, we would like to have property lines, which we could add in property lines that are just fake, or just for the project, but we don't need to do that. So here's our, so we want to have the building kind of centered in here to the right, so that we'll have an entry here and an exit here, and we'll have our building located on the site in this general location. Once we get in the later videos our building more further setup, we'll likely set our project base point at the corner, at one corner of the building. But just for now, you can just draw this kind of 150 foot by 100 foot building here. And so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some site information for this roads, just for reference. So go ahead and select your topography and then edit surface. And I'm going to go ahead and delete these little arc here. And I'm just going to grab one of these points that are here for the road. And I'm just going to hit copy up here in the modify tab. And copy the points out here, so that we can draw in our reference, our road. So you can select this, hit copy up here, and I'm going to do multiple so I don't have to keep hitting copy. And just pick a few points so we can have the road here on the site. Hit OK. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go to massing and site plan. So on the massing and site plan, we'll want to go to split surface. And if you hover over there, it'll kind of show you what to do. So that you can actually add a different surface. So we're going to go split surface, select our site plan, and I'm just going to draw in on top of our map, or on top of our image, to just kind of draw some reference lines for the roads. So I'm going to use this start end arc of radius to get this first part of the road. So I'll start one side, and then now it's going to let me place the radius. I'm going to delete that and do it again. I'm just going to use this edge of the map to get my radius kind of a bit closer. And just, if you need to switch to line, you can just pick the line. It'll keep the same path. So you don't have to redraw, and just kind of walk around the little reference image, creating your road. And we don't need to go too far out here because we'll just cut it off here at the corner. Oops, forgot to hit arc on that one. Just going to bring this line a little bit up. So you can see when if I want to kind of, if it's locking into an orthogonal, when I try to move this in, you see it's locking it in. If you hit tab, it kind of breaks it free so that you can move it right anywhere. So as soon as it starts to lock, you can hit tab so that I can unlock it and you can adjust it as needed. Create this other corner and then come up here for the last part of this curved road, pick line, and then close this. I'm going to come back here and just adjust this corner because I don't like how tight that is. It's kind of a weird little piece of road here. It looks like it gets pretty narrow here. I'll have to drive over there and check it out, see what it actually looks like. Alright, now that we got our road drawn, we can hit the little green check. If your road wasn't closed, it'll give you a little error that says that it needs to be a closed sketch. And so if you hover over it, you can see that now we can go to our 3D view. You can see that we've now kind of made a little rolled element that we can select separately. So go ahead and select your road and then go to edit. So over here on the properties palette, if you select your road, go to your material, and then we're going to change that to pavement. So if you type pavement up here, we don't have any project materials currently that are pavement, but down here you can see, if this is closed at the bottom, you can see where the material libraries is. Click the little two up arrows. We can select pavement, and then click this little arrow to add it to the project so that we can then use it. So right now it doesn't have any colors. Its appearance is using a image for if we're doing like the realistic view. So for shading, we can make it black. For the pattern, for the surface pattern, we can also make that black. And so what that'll do is if we're in realistic view, it'll use this image. If we're using shading, it'll be black. And you can see that here. So hidden line, it doesn't show. Shaded, it'll show black. Realistic, it'll use an image. So now we have this little reference road here. Here's our kind of site area, and this is where our building will be. And so while we're here, let's go ahead and let's select this survey point. And it's clipped, but we also want to, let's go ahead and pin the survey point so we don't inadvertently move the survey point. So select the survey point and select the little pin so we can't move it. I'm going to window over the survey point, hit filter on the modify tab, check none, and then elevations, and check elevations and views. And while we're here, we'll just get these views moved up closer to our site so that when we start actually modeling, they'll be close to where we want them to be. And remember, when you're moving these, if you select just the bubble, the actual view reference will stay in the same spot. You see how this line here is in the same spot as it was before, so you'll need to select both the view bubble and the little arrow in front to move both. So you can either just window over them or select them separately, because the elevation tags are actually in two separate things. So you have the view bubble just tells you where the detail lives, and the little arrow is actually where the little reference view line is. Excuse me. And so we'll get our view bubbles located, and we'll call that good for now. So ultimately what we're going to do is create, so we've our building here, and then in this area we're going to create our parking lot. So in our book it will actually give us some parameters of how much room we need for parking, and so we'll determine where we set this building based on having enough room to park all around here, so cars can easily move through here without it being too tight. We're going to have to figure out where like a dumpster is going to live for the building, so that a garbage truck can probably come in from this side, pull up, dump the garbage, and then be able to easily get out of the parking lot without too much trouble. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions with any of that. So as a recap, we moved our base point to, let me hide the topography. And raster image. So we moved our site location, the survey point, to this corner of the LBCC site plan to kind of represent this survey marker, this benchmark. That was here in reality, that we could actually go out and check out. Then we moved our project base point here to kind of be at the corner of the site plan. We kind of drew a 150 foot by 100 foot wide rectangle to represent our building. We moved our elevation markers here, and we kind of extended this out, and we drew in our topography. We extended it out so it could capture more of where the road is, and then we drew in our road using the split surface. All right, let me know if you have any questions, and you can send me an email, or we can set up a go-to meeting if you need any help with this.